Now, documents filed in court on behalf of the Attorney General allege that the contractor who executed the Saglemi project has been paid $179 million despite executing work worth $64 million. Out of the 2,172 acres which have to be developed, just 651.75 acres have been used. The Attorney General argues that this has created a situation where work has not been done, which means the loan facility, the housing units are uninhabitable, and also the loan facility has not been paid because none of the units have been sold as of now. Executive Chairman of Constructora OAS Ghana Limited, which is the company that executed the project, Andrew Clocanis, has been charged in court alongside former Works and Housing Minister Collins Dauda and Kweku Agyeman-Mensah. Let's get more on the charges they'll be facing and when to expect them in court. My colleague Joseph Akaple joins me via Zoom with more. Joe, what are the individuals being charged for?
And so first, you mentioned Collins Dauda. He is a former Works and Housing Minister. There is also Kweku Agyeman-Mensah, who is also another former Works and Housing Minister. Then there is Ziblim Yakubu. He is a former Chief Director at the Ministry of Works and Housing. Then Andrew Clocanis, which you mentioned, he works with a company that executed the contract. Then there is Novi Tete Angelo. He is a consultant whose company were awarded various consultancy contracts relative to the execution of this particular project. And so those are the persons who have been charged in court.
And I understand that there are some 52 charges. Give us an idea of what the major charges are.
And so it mainly has to do with the issuance of false certificates is one charge that runs through. In terms of the public officials, there is the issue of woefully causing financial loss to the state that runs through various sums. Then there is the bit about the misapplication of public funds or misuse of public property is also another offense that runs through. And so these are the offenses that have been leveled against the public officials. In terms of the private individuals, there is the bit about dishonestly causing a loss to the state and dishonestly receiving, among other charges that have also been leveled against them, Daniel.
So when is this case expected to begin in court?
A date has not been fixed yet, but it's one thing that we are monitoring closely. But in terms of other interesting portions of the charge sheet, and so the substantive issue against the public officials is the fact that sometime in 2012, the state went in for $200 million from an international credit agency. And this was money that was supposed to be used to construct 5,000 housing units. Now, we are told that when Mr. Dauda took over as the Works and Housing Minister, he reviewed the contract. And so he said what Parliament had approved was that $200 million for 5,000 housing units. The minister takes over, he's accused of having reviewed it down, was contrary to what Parliament approved, to now bring it to 1,500 housing units at the same cost of $200 million. We are told that the chief director later reviewed this downwards to 1,400, aside from the fact that they said without any basis, the contract sum all of a sudden reduced from $200 million to an amount of $181 million. Now, the AG says that as it stands now, the work should have been completed in 2017. We've not had the 5,000 units. We rather have just about 668 units that have been completed, which, as you indicated, he says are not habitable. And so what it means is that the $200 million that we took for the housing units that we're supposed to finish and sell and get money to be able to pay for it, we've not been able to do that. There's also the bit about a consultancy service contract that was awarded. We are told that this particular contract, under the execution of the master agreement, consultancy for the project was not supposed to exceed $5 million, but we are looking at figures in the region of $13 million. In some instances, we are told that the same consultancy service was awarded 3 times on 2 occasions to the same company, and on 1 occasion, it was shared between AESL and another company that also executed it. And we are told that all these are part of the reasons why the state and the AG, for that matter, believes that a loss was occasioned.
Which company is this? This company that was awarded the contracts twice?
And so there is VHM and RSM. And so the thing about VHM and RSM was that the majority shareholder in RSM is also the person who is a director at VHM. And so we are told that it's the same individual. He is the Tete Angelo Novi, who is also being charged. And we are told that it's the same work that was given to AESL, that AESL decided to subcontract to VHM. is that same work that was handed to RSM on 2 occasions. And so the AG makes the point that this is work that they were required to, even if they were supposed to have done anyway, they were required to show evidence of the work before payments were effected. That was not done. And so, as per the records that are available to the AG says, there's no evidence that work was done. The evidence indicates that it's the same work that was being done by AESL, which had subcontracted to BHM. And that work was extended from the period of 2013. And so the AG says within the same period that the contract was being awarded to RSM twice, the same contract that was being given to VHM, which had the RSM majority shareholders director, was being extended and no work was being done, yet the payments were effected for close to $13 million, even though the contract said that out of the 200 million, if you're going to pay for consultancy service, it shouldn't go beyond $5 million.
In any case, have the defendants entered a response since these
Not
charges
yet.
were leveled against them?
Not yet. And so what mostly happens is that once the charges are filed, a date to be fixed for the arraignment. And when they show up in court for the arraignment, that is when the charges will be read against them. Then they'll be afforded the opportunity to respond to the charges leveled against each of them. And so we understand that they maintain that they did not commit any crime. And so those are matters that they'll put to the court once the case is called, when a date is fixed.
So the date is yet to be fixed?
That is so, Daniel.
Do we have any indication why it took the Attorney General so long to file this case? Because remember, this was something that the former Minister for Works and Housing, Samuel Atachia, spoke about extensively, that work must be done about this. It's been years since he talked about filing criminal charges against the former minister. Now it's being done. Do we have any indication why this is now happening?
I mean, from what our sources tell us, it's more of the investigative process that was going through. If you recall, sometime last year when Mr. Atachian spoke on PM Express, it was at that program that he did indicate that they had received, the surveyors had carried out an assessment of the work that had been done on the project, which we are now being told by the documents that have been filed by the agencies that the total work done is about $64 million, even though the contractor has been paid more than 100 million, in fact, $179 million. And so we've almost exhausted the 200 million that we went in for ASLU, but have not been able to pay that. And so our source indicates that it's the complex nature of the investigation that was being carried out.
Okay.
Then again, prosecution will always come to some decision. It has to do with when you are ready, you know that you have your witnesses set, you have your documents set, and you are prepared to put forward a strong case. And that is what we understand was being carried out. And the AG, Mr. Dami, since he took over office, has been monitoring this particular case closely. And you recall that particular news conference you covered, the Works and Housing Minister had indicated that they were still at an advanced stage and that at the appropriate time the charges will be brought forward. And so that's what we are told, that it's gotten to the level that the state is ready to proceed with the prosecution.
That's actually what I wanted to touch on briefly before we let you go, Joseph, because will this court case affect the utilization of these units in any way? Can government go ahead and attempt to use the housing units currently whilst this is under litigation?
I mean, we don't have any specific information in that regard, but the challenge really now is that we are told that it means that we've virtually expended the money that we had for the project. And so the $200 million, we've spent 179 of that. The second point is that what has been completed is not habitable. And so if the state has any intention of making those ones habitable, that is if you have to believe the narrative put out by the Attorney General and the Works and Housing Minister, it will mean that the state will have to find some money to put those ones in conditions that will be habitable. Then comes the point of finding buyers for it, because people have even criticized the location of this particular facility. And so what we see really is a situation where the state will have to find money which may not be available at this point in time in this economy that we find ourselves in. And so that is quite a hurdle that the state is confronted with. And I mean, the earlier we find some means of dealing with that, the better, because the experts have indicated that as it stands, the facility is still wasting away. And it's a beautiful facility, at least on the outside, from what we've seen. And some of the shots that we have from the inside, it looks like if we're able to put some touches to it, we should be able to complete it and make it habitable. And so for now, what we know for a fact is that the state is pursuing the prosecution of the individuals who have been charged. And what ends in some of these instances, that if the state is able to secure favorable judgment, it's able to do recoveries in some cases. And so if you're able to recover some of those sums, those are monies that could be put to good use. Because as it stands now, we owe $200 million anyways.
Thank you very much, Joseph Akable, for that detailed analysis of this particular case. Now, as you heard Joseph say a couple of months ago, JoyNews visited the project and we observed some of these beautiful fittings and structures that Joseph referred to. Watch this.
Cow dung littered on the dirty tarred roads is the first thing you see upon entering the abandoned site project, which sits on a 300-acre land. It's fast becoming a grazing field for cattle who feed on the weeds growing within the median of the buildings and its surroundings. Street lights, yet to be connected to the national grid, have been mounted in front of the buildings, and the drainage system is visible in between the tarred rows. The housing project comes in two categories: a two-story building with 9 apartments each and another 2-bedroom self-contained apartment. The cream and ash painting on the buildings were fading, perhaps due to being exposed to the vagaries of the weather. Now, let's quickly take a scan and go through some of the houses or the rooms to understand what you have there. I'm talking about the apartment. So, first of all, of course, you see the 2-story building, as I mentioned. Now, if you look at my right, for example, this is where it was expected that it would have the meters. And so each room or each apartment would be connected to a meter, which is going to give them electricity as well. Now, to my immediate left is the one of the apartment. And so I walk in, the doors are firmly fixed doors. Of course, you could see that there is a security door because you could see from the inside who is knocking at your door. You also have your light knob as well. Now, if you look here, these are it's a tiled floor, actually, I should say. It's a tiled floor, fully tiled floor. We have all the connections with regards to electricity. And of course, you could see some of them having the bulbs as well here. And so this presumably is expected to be the hall of this particular apartment. And I get a sense that it's a 2-bedroom apartment. And so if you move away from the hall, to my immediate right is another bedroom. It appears to be that it has also been completed as well. But the only difference is that the place has been abandoned, but of course you can see some weeds here and there, and because it's been raining and they haven't access to the room, the floor is a bit kind of muddy, untidy. That is the situation here at the Sagleme Housing Project. Now let me take you to the washroom as well. Now if you come to the washroom, this is expected to be the toilet room where of course you want to discharge your human waste. Here you have a sink here that is equally furnished. They have the lamp holder for the bulbs as well. The doors fully, installed here at the washroom, I should say. Now, shortly when you move from there, you come to the bathroom. That is where you have to take your bath after a long day activity, or perhaps this is where you have to be. And so look at the state. Very untidy. The place is in a mess, I should say. You have a shower here, of course. So this is supposed to be the bathroom where you take your bath in the morning if you wake up and, of course, when you return from work. And this is another door, but unfortunately, I can't have access to this door. It's locked. I don't know why it is locked. It appears to be the only door I've seen that is locked. All the doors have been opened. So this is the current state of the Sagleme Housing Project. And, of course, you might be wondering, where is the kitchen? Here is the kitchen. This is the state of the kitchen for you. They have their sink. And of course, this is the state for you. Very, very untidy. And and of course, the burglars are here. So this is the current state of the kitchen. And of course, this, I'm sure, is expected to be the storeroom where you keep some of your utensils and some of your products and all that. So this is the state. This is the current state of the Sagleme Housing Project. A 2-bedroom apartment, 4 each. And as I mentioned, is a 3-story building. Each building has 9 apartments in all. Right, so I'm going to take you upstairs so that you check what is there as well. But I'm sure the situation will not be different from what you've already seen. But the point is that even look at the staircase as well. It's unkempt. There are no cleaners around to sanitize the place or properly to keep the place in check so that the place will be in the proper shape. So this is the first floor, actually. And to my immediate left, that's where you have a better appreciation of the doors. And these are the doors that have been fixed with almost all the houses here, or all the apartments, as we say, here. Now, here is another apartment. Now let me enter. Of course, there's nobody in, so I cannot knock. I easily have access to the place. So this appears to be a single room self-contained. And so, of course, it's expected that here will be probably your hall and kitchen. Yeah, of course, if you look at the setup, it is likely to be a hall and a kitchen, whilst here becomes your bedroom.
So that's the latest, well, that's a report that we brought from Saglimi, the housing project at the time. And the news is that government has taken the former Works and Housing Minister to court. In fact, the former ministers of Works and Housing to court, including the chairman of the contractors and, of course, the consultant as well. We move from that story, and scores of students at the University of Ghana are this morning stranded as the University Teachers Association of Ghana begins its strike over deteriorating working conditions. Lecture halls were empty, with a few students who had reported for lectures hoping against hope that the lecturers will show up. Manuel Cranting was at the Legon campus of the University of Ghana this morning. Here's his report.
These long
We will bring you that story later in the bulletin. This is JoyNews Desk with me, Daniel Dazi. Now, we know that the University Teachers Association of Ghana last week put out a statement that they will embark on strike this morning, starting from this morning, over the salaries that were negotiated way back in 2012 under the former president Mills. Now, they say they are supposed to receive more than $2,000 every month, but currently they are receiving just about $900 every month. And so they are demanding that their salaries increase with immediate effect, and government comes to the table with them. We'll get more on that story right after this. Hi, welcome back. Now, the Proper Human Sexual in Ghana Family Values Bill, popularly referred to as the Anti-Gay Bill, will be laid in Parliament today. The bill is expected to go through first reading today. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins us. What exactly will happen today, Joseph? Right, Joseph,
Hello,
can you hear
Daniel.
me? Yes. What exactly is expected to happen today?
So what will happen is what is described as the very first reading of the bill. So then essentially it will be a very simple process. That means for less than 3 minutes. It will just be a case of the very long title of the bill, which actually kind of summarizes what the bill is all about, being read by the clerk at the office right in Parliament House on the floor. And then the promoters of the bill, in this case, 8 of them, acknowledging and bowing to the Speaker after the Speaker has invited them to present the bill. And then once that is done, the Speaker will go ahead and refer the bill to one of the committees in Parliament. We are not too clear in our minds yet which it will be, but it's most likely going to be the Committee on Constitution and Legal Affairs. And so that's what we're expecting to happen today, less than a 3-minute process, and then it will be referred to the appropriate.
So when is this bill likely to be passed?
It's most likely going to take a while. The main promoter of the bill, Samuel George, the Ningo Pampam MP, is expressing confidence that this is something that could possibly pass by the end of the year, although that is kind of being overly ambitious. Because what will happen is that the House is taking its break this coming Friday. MPs will be away up until sometime in October, when they will return after that indefinite adjournment. What the Speaker will do will be to refer to the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. We are expecting that over the next few months, even as the House is on break, the committee will invite memoranda from ordinary members of the public, even as they consider the bill. and then I wait for it to then have the House resume sitting, and then they'll go through what is called the second reading of the bill, during which MPs will specifically discuss and debate the principles of the bill. And then after that, then there will be the consideration stage where specific proposed amendments will be done to clause it in the bill, and they'll go through all the 25 clauses of the bill. The final session of the year, which will begin in October, usually when the House sits, it's mainly to deal with issues having to do with the budget for the year that will follow. So they focus very little attention on other items apart from that, which is how come it's very much going to be difficult for them to deal with it even before the end of the year.
Right. Joseph, thanks very much for those updates from Parliament. Now, scores of students at the University of Ghana are this morning stranded as the University Teachers Association of Ghana begins its strike over deteriorating working conditions. Lecture halls were empty, with a few students who had reported for lectures hoping against hope that the lecturers will show up. Manuel Kranting was at the Legon campus of the University of Ghana this morning.
Which has a capacity of about 250 students, is this morning totally empty. Well, if you know the University of Ghana's schedule very well, its lectures start from 7:30 a.m. And so, properly speaking, by this time, this class should have been full to capacity. But the opposite is actually what is happening, giving you an indication that indeed the strike of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, as was so declared sometime last week to take effect this morning, is now in full force. And so there's absolutely nobody here. I see a couple of the students while I walked into the lecture hall, standing outside, a bit stranded, because indeed the indication is that for some of them, they did not even know that their lecturers were striking effective this morning. And so some of them are even sitting outside. You can see them with their heads on the table. I spoke to a couple of them outside, and you can see them having a conversation. Be jaw-jawing and thinking whether or not their lecturers are indeed going to come for the lectures. I'll just try and get a bit closer to them this morning, and then speak to them about where they are coming from and why they're still, around here. But I think you can come a bit closer so we have a quick conversation. Right, so these are some of the students at the University of Ghana who had lectures this morning, and for them, they were really hopeful of having to meet their lecturers in the classrooms, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Worse off is that there is another strike which is currently in force, being organized by the Senior Staff Association, Universities of Ghana. So their strike is sort of coinciding with the strike of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. Good morning, what's your name?
I'm Deborah.
Deborah, so you're a student of the University of Ghana, correct?
Yes, please.
Which level?
Level 100.
Level 100. You had a lecture this morning?
Yes, please.
Okay, tell me about the lecture. Is it happening? Why are you outside?
Yeah, I think it's been cancelled. Yes, I came with the hopes of coming for tutorials. We were told on Friday that there'll be tutorials towards the preparation of the exams, but it seems it's not coming on, so, yeah.
Was there any communication to you whatsoever?
Yeah, we got a letter. It was sent on a group chat, but I just hoped that there would be lectures, so I just came to find out.
So you are hoping against hope that, but what course are you reading? And I mean, are you done with your coursework for the semester? How is this going to affect you?
I'm doing biomedical engineering, and we are not done. Yes, like we have a lot to cover, and since we are just using 6 weeks for learning, we have a lot undone, and they were planning to use this week to finish the things they couldn't finish. But since the lectures are not coming on, I don't know how we'll be able to finish them. Yeah.
I'll come back for us to talk about how this will affect you. And you've mentioned the 6 weeks, and there's a peculiar explanation to why the University of Ghana is doing 6 weeks for lectures and not the original 13 weeks as you have it. I'll give that to you. But what's your name? Etonam, I saw you sitting out there, you're reading yourself. You seem to have already taken the stuff into your own hands and you are learning ahead of the lectures, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, so tell me, what course do you read and why are you out this early?
Okay, so initially, the normal routine was to be 13 weeks of study. But with due to the COVID-19 and then its outbreak and everything, it has been reduced to 6 weeks. And even with that 6 weeks, we are not able to cover everything in class. Some topics are being given to us as reading assignments. So it is up to you, the student. If you don't take on the extracurricular activity on yourself to learn more, you are really going to be left behind.
So even before the coming of the strike, there was a shortfall in terms of contact hours and so on?
Yeah, probably, but it was limited, more of online and then less of face-to-face. But with this second semester, I'm a level 100 student. So with this second semester, we've had more face-to-face than online lectures, yes.
And you are hoping that this morning you'll have your lectures to teach you, but that's not happening?
Yeah, hopefully, but if it doesn't come on, we still learn on our own.
Okay, let me speak to this lady. Well, this lady tells me she's coming from Kwabinya. You can confirm that, correct?
Yes, please.
So you're coming from Kwabinya. It means that you're not a resident on campus?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you had a lecture this morning?
Yes. I don't know if it's coming on, but for me, I thought it was coming on.
Okay. And so you prepared and came?
Yes, please.
Tell me, what did you find when you went to the class?
Nobody was there.
Say again?
Nobody was there, please.
Nobody was in a class? Yes. But are you done with your coursework and so on?
Yes, please, majority.
You're done with majority of it, but you have exams this week, correct?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So this week is supposed to be your revision week?
Yes, please. Yes.
And then you're not having like lectures around?
No, please.
Okay, and so this is just the situation here at the University of Ghana. The students sort of walk in and walk out because of the absence of the lecturers. The lecturers are demanding what they call proper conditions of service, as you would have it in 2012. The single spine salary structures adjustment put them a little over $2,000 at entry level for lecturers. But that is not the situation here. Now they are demanding that must happen, or else they are not returning to the class. And indeed, they are not in a class. From here at the university.
Later in the day, we'll go around the country to get how to assess how the strike is affecting teaching and learning in universities. But for now, for years, 24-year-old Joshua Kwache was bedridden after he was knocked down in a hit-and-run accident. He has since struggled to do things for himself because every movement of his body was a painful ordeal. Only surgery could give him a semblance of normal life again. Well, after the broadcast of Joshua's story, a philanthropist has gone ahead to pay for the surgery. My colleague, Judith Alchitano, who reported on his earlier condition, visited his residence and now reports.
He was walking just like anyone else. Until one fateful night on the Medina-Denton Highway 3 years ago, a vehicle hit him. That incident was a life-changing one. Due to his inability to get medical attention, Joshua would spend every day of his life groaning in pain. He would go days without food and lived in a basement with no proper place of convenience. For Joshua, all hope was lost.
Every day I'm going through pain. It's very bad. I always cry, and all I do is to pray to God.
After reporting on Joshua's story, however, JoyNews was contacted by a philanthropist who volunteered to pay for a surgery for Joshua under the condition of anonymity. After several checkups at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, neurosurgeon Dr. Maulia Metepe explained the extent of damage in Joshua's spine.
He also has a problem with controlling his urine and his feces. And the scans basically revealed a fracture in one of his vertebral bodies. the spine made up of 33 bones. Some people have more than that, maybe 34. And it's basically 7 bones in your neck, 12 bones in your chest, 5 bones in your flank or lumbar region, and then the sacrum and coccyx follow. Now we're talking about the second bone of the 5 in the lumbar region. That was what got broken in Joshua Kwache's case.
Dr. Metafe further highlighted that chances for Joshua to walk again were slim.
When Joshua visited us, I told him that the alignment of the spine is not good. Surgery will realign the spine, and surgery would also take off any form of pressure on the tail end of the spinal cord, as I mentioned. We do not think that the recovery of his nerves is possible, looking at the long duration in which he has waited.
So basically, Joshua be able to...
That is a very slim chance, and I think it is too slim to say a yes to.
This, however, did not discourage Joshua nor his donor. An initial payment of 20,000 Ghana cedis was made to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital for the commencement of the surgery. After spending a week in the hospital, Joshua finally underwent a spinal surgery. Not only that, but through donations to Wipe Your Tears Foundation, which took up Joshua's basic care, he was moved into a new apartment. We visited his residence a week after.
It's been about a month since we last visited Joshua, who was paralyzed for 3 good years after a hit-and-run incident. After reporting on his situation, we had an anonymous donor who footed for his entire bill at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Today, we are back at Joshua's new abode to see how he's faring. Hi, Joshua. How are you doing?
Please, I'm blessed, and you?
I'm also good. How have you been?
Yes, please. I'm doing good by the grace of God. Everything went good. The doctors were so kind, and the nurses. I didn't find it difficult to, go to the theater because everything were already prepared. I'm much excited. Now I don't feel the pain like the way I felt in the past. Yes, please. And now I can sit well, but before I couldn't sit well. I'm happy. Like I'm happy that now I have hope that I'll soon walk. Yes, please. I have that feeling that I'll soon walk. I would love to start work because they said I should be in the house for almost 3 months. After the 3 months, I can do something. So I want to start work. I really want to work, but I can't do any hard work. So I'm praying to get help so that I can start something by my own to survive.
In all, a total of 32,160 Ghana cedis was paid for Joshua's surgery.
So first of all, I'll give thanks to Almighty God, the Creator, for opening this a big door for me. And secondly, to Wipe Your Tears Foundation for their support and the love. And thirdly, I'll give thanks to JoyNews and the multimedia. May God richly bless you all, and may God richly bless the man or the donor who donated for my surgery.
So there you have it. Joshua is extremely grateful and will forever be grateful. Reporting for JoyNews, my name is Judith Awoche Tando.
Now, the 9-year-old whose day wish list became a national assignment, Oswald Jenu, has presented the gifts he received from big brands and individuals to the Royal Seed Orphanage in the Central Region. In an interview with JoyNews, his father, Mark Jenu, stated that he was surprised to see some criticisms on social media that his son is not a needy child, hence did not deserve them. He says Oswald benefited from God's grace and favor. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
away from the comfort of Accra life is the Royal Seat Orphanage. It is afternoon and the children here are happy playing various games. The teenagers amongst them are in their beautiful cadet uniforms as they sing a song of gratitude. Class 3 pupil Oswald Genu is here with his parents, family and friends. They are here to spend time with the children and also donate what he received on Friday.
9-year-old Oswald believes in the act of sharing. He says that he was very excited and overwhelmed with joy when corporate Ghana showed up in his school to make the day memorable for him. He believes that he has to share that joy with underprivileged children also.
I didn't really know that mommy is going to buy everything. But if she bought some, I would have taken it because it's better than taking nothing to our day. I'm happy that I came here, I've shared everything, and I know that almost everyone here are less privileged, but I just want to share everything and feel happy. Very, very, very excited.
Oswald's father, Mark Genu, says he has noticed significant changes in his son after Friday's event that brought him into the limelight. On some criticisms on social media that his son is not an underprivileged child, hence undeserving of the gifts big brands showered on him, Mark Genu says it was God's grace and favor that found him, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. He says that is why the family has also decided to present the items to the needy.
One thing that I keep telling my colleague is that also just wrote a letter to the parents. Someone will say it's just a normal letter. Yes, we believe it's just a normal letter, but there is something that is hidden that goes with the letter that maybe people have not taken their time to understand. The grace and the favor of God is behind that letter. That is what has brought the young man into this limelight. Well, I smile over them. Well, some of them, I think I don't pay attention to them. I read them, I smile over them. But I also want to thank Ghana because a lot of people come in to talk for us, and so we don't need to even say anything about them. In fact, we personally, I mean the Genu's family, myself, my wife, Oswald, and the rest of the entire family, we believe in giving, we believe in putting smiles in the face of everyone. And we think that the same joy Oswald had on Friday, we need to also extend it to other children.
Oswald's mother, Rita Genu, says it has always been her wish to help underprivileged children, and Friday's event has helped her to fulfill one of her heart's desires.
Is something I had always wanted to do, but didn't have the means to do it this big. But he who God blesses exceedingly and abundantly shall give back to the society. I'm so grateful for everyone who came to donate at Oswald School. They have given us the opportunity to also give back to society. And we couldn't have chosen a better place than Royal Seed Home. I can confidently say that he's gained a lot of confidence because dealing with a lot of people, dealing with the media especially, it's his first time at it. And it's very new, but he's gained a lot of confidence. He's able to speak freely.
Oswald's class teacher at the Christ Ambassador School, Mrs. Ernestina Pia, says Friday's last day of the school term will remain the most memorable for the students.
Oh, it was very good, very awesome. I really enjoyed the day. Although we were all not expecting something like that, but then we all felt happy, the children were happy, the school itself was also happy.
And that's Oswald's story. You're live on JoyNews Desk with me, Daniel Daze. Coming up next is business.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Powell. Local government authorities across the country are being empowered to leverage opportunities under the African Continental Free Trade Area after a meeting of trade and development stakeholders in Kumasi fashioned out the necessary trade tools and guidelines to create the requisite environment for local businesses to take advantage of after Prince Appiah was at the Trade Stakeholders Conference and filed this report.
The stakeholders event was under the theme Unlocking the Potentials of Local Authorities to Harness the Benefits of African Continental Free Trade Area. It was meant to deepen the awareness of AFCFTA and its agreement among local assemblies. Dr. Kojo Esim-Mensah Brampa is Director General of the National Development Planning Commission, which is leading the project.
As a country, I'm sure we've heard it, that we are going very far. Specific programs have been identified to support the medium and small-scale enterprises at their respective districts. We've also signed almost all the agreements that are necessary to get this going as a country. But I'm very much concerned at the preparedness of the district. So beyond just talking about it, we are going to create the necessary tools, the necessary guidelines, and hold the hands of the district managers to be able to also respond to some of these opportunities that have been created by Ministry of Trade and Industry.
Participants included representatives from academia, research community, civil society organizations, trade and professional association, development authorities and MMDAs. Dr. Mensah Brampa said it is critical to build the local economy and enhance the planning capacity at the local level for effective participation in the AFCFTA.
So it's not just looking at providing just social facilities, but it's looking at how we can build our local economies. And that is the only process by which you can transform our agriculture. We can also transform our industrial development process and more importantly, create the jobs which have been expressed in our National Medium-Term Development Plan as a country. It is also a big opportunity for us to develop our skills. The skills will help us to also utilize our local resources, enhance the quality and the quantity, and be able to compete on the African trade market.
Head of Ghana AFCTA Coordinating Office at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Dr. Farid Arthur says the national structures are already in place to support local businesses to export into the African region.
In terms of preparation, we are ready. I would say we can now receive and export under AFTA. The other issue is whether the other countries that we trade with are ready. But from the Ghana side, we've appointed the competent authority, which is customs. We have the national structures in place, the National Facilitation, Interministerial Facilitation Committee. These are all in place. So far, from our records, about 18 companies are in various stages of registration. And once they have finished, then we have to hold on. What we are working on holding their hands to be able to enable them to also export.
The United Nations Development Programme is a partner in the initiative. Dr. Frederick Mugisha is UNDP Economics Advisor for Ghana and the Gambia.
Anything that helps development move forward, we are there. And so the AFTA is one of them. But the other important thing is that when we use the development tools, these are the plans, these are the budgets, these are the statistics, then we are able to sustain something more. Because we are saying this is what we want to do, that's our voice. We are saying this is the amount of money we're investing, that's putting the money where our mouth is. And we are saying this, we want to track progress, and that's the statistics.
Other partners include the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Ministry of Trade and Industry, and the National AFCTA Coordinating Office. Prince Appiah reporting.
That's your business story for this morning. Sports is coming up right after this break.